Hey gamers, welcome to Vlog Matters number 23. It has been so long since I have done a vlog. Actually, the last one was posted right around October 13th. And I have so much I want to talk about that this might end up being a very long vlog, so I'll try and get through every piece of it as fast as I can. There's going to be 3 parts to it. We're going to talk about 3 separate projects. We're going to start with this one, which is on the screen, The Deliverer, which is an entry into the 1 game a month challenge for December 2015. The theme was Quest Giver, so develop a game around the theme of someone who gives out quests. And I posted online on Twitter and I said, hey, I think I'm gonna maybe consider doing this. Does anyone... Actually, I just said I think I'm considering doing this. And a man by the name of Mike Wells replied and said, you know, if you're thinking about doing it, you know, I'll help you with it. So that was actually pretty cool. And Mike and I got together. We started using... we used Slack to communicate, and we used Trello for task management. And we used Unity 5.3, I think we switched to. We started with 5.2 and switched to 5.3 in the middle of development. So our original plan was to build this game where essentially you are the person delivering the quests. You are the deliverer. You are this person who, in the original scenario, would deliver quests to people based on their, like, I guess you would say, like, competency with the quest. So you would have people, NPCs around the town, that you would say, hey, here's a quest that needs to be given to a level 50 rogue, okay? And you'd have different people around the town that one person could be a level 60 rogue, so they could take the quest quite easily, and they would have, you know, rewards that you would give them. You would be giving the reward. But there would be other people, so let's say there's a level 1 warrior. That quest is way too high for him, so if you would give it to him, there would be repercussions from that. So let's say you gave it to him and he has a wife and kids, and you give him this quest and he's gone for 2 days, and all of a sudden you get word back that he was killed during that quest. Now the wife and kids are mad at you, and there's negative repercussions in the town based on that. Well, that was all really cool. The problem was that it was a very large scope, and about midway through development, I want to say, so we did it in December, and December, you know, you're kind of on and off of your development, especially with the holidays and everything. So we kind of, you know, a couple weeks in thought, that's kind of a massive scope, and we need to get this done in, it would have been like a week or 2 at that point. So we decided to cut a large chunk of content and build this game, The Deliverer, which is more action-based, less RPG-based. And I'm just gonna kind of float around the map here. One note, which is pretty interesting, is that we actually had a different terrain here that I built in Blender. So in terms of the work, I was doing a lot of the art and Mike was doing a lot of the programming, and then at the end we kind of flip-flop back and forth. So I built most of these houses, and I built a terrain in Blender that was so high poly that it was taking forever to render the lighting, even at very low settings. So what we did is we actually just used the out-of-the-box Blender terrain, or Unity terrain. So the goal of the game, I'll play it here. I should mention right now too, this game is available for free, playable in the browser on itch.io. I'll have the link down in the description below, so you can go down there and play it for free, as long as you have the Unity 3D browser plugin. So the goal is that there is this crazy, let's see if we can get in there. This crazy machine called the Materializer. It's the Quick Quest Materializer Deluxe. And what it does is it just it keeps randomly spitting out all these quests, and when I play this you'll see all this, but it spits out these letters, and you have to deliver them. So the concept is that the Materializer is kind of broken and on the fritz, and what you need to do is deliver them to these houses, which are color-coded based on the letters are also color-coded, but to support colorblind players who may not be able to see these colors, we put in these signs that have symbols on them, so the symbols are also on the corresponding mail that you have to deliver. The trick is that the Materializer spits out way more than you can carry at any one time, so you actually have to kind of prioritize which homes you want to go to and deliver. Now there's no ending to this, it just goes on forever, and actually it's a little bit, you know, wonky in that sense, because the limit you hit is actually the performance, because we're spitting out so many physics-based objects from this from this materializer. But you just walk around, you shoot them at these mailboxes, and if you hit the right mailbox, it goes in, gives you a point. Otherwise, it just bounces off the mailbox. So I'm going to play it real quick. I'll probably remember some more stuff as I'm playing. Just a basic 2D start menu. It explains what the game is on the left there in the red, gives you the controls in the yellow, and then the press enter thing in the bottom. So this is how it starts. You start in the quest office. And the materializer will go boop in a second and spit those guys out. And you can pick them up with F or right mouse button. And then you have like this little equipped thing. So I'm going to try and do this kind of quick so it doesn't just drag on my my CPU because I'm playing this locally. But if we look at this this symbol, you see it's blue, but it doesn't match this this mailbox. So if you shoot it, it just kind of bounces off. Our terrain's a little low right now, but you can also switch through your equipped items here. So let's go throw this in one. So you get a point. Okay, we got it. That's pretty basic game, but we built all the art from scratch other than the only pieces that were not built from scratch were the textures such as the ground. I'm going to get out of this because it's going to lag pretty soon. The textures weren't created by us. Some of these textures for the houses and the wood textures and the roofs and stuff, all the models were created by us, I believe. Yep. And I think so the textures are a combination, and I'll get into the texture stuff in the next game, but the textures are a combination of a pre-purchased asset that I picked up on Unity, Unity's asset store, as well as a combination of assets or textures from GameTextures.com. So those were pre-made. Everything else was built from scratch, I believe. Yeah, including code. Like I said, we had a whole. Let's see if I can turn this off quick and show that there was a UI that we actually built for using different quests. So you can kind of see there's this quest log, description, rewards, conditions. We actually had that all built and working, but we didn't have all the interaction with the mail or the quests spitting out to actually fill out this log. And it also would slow down gameplay quite a bit, so we made that decision to go from the RPG to the action game based on the fact that it was quicker to implement, but it was also, I don't know, just faster to play. I think you'd have to take longer to get into it if it was an RPG game, which is okay. But for a game jam game, I think a lot of people just want to play it and see what it is, and then be like, oh, okay, I get it. Maybe not, but I think if you would take this game going forward and expand on it, that's where you could add in some of that, more of the original design that we originally considered. So yeah, that is the Deliverer. Again, it is on itch.io. I'll have the link down in the description below, free to play in your browser. Yeah, go check it out and leave us a comment on Mike or I. Leave us a comment on Twitter or on the itch.io page or something. We'll check it out. So I'm going to move on to the next game. I'll cut to that using Magic. Okay, we're back. So this game is a project I was working on before I went and looked at the one game a month challenge for December. And this game you can probably see is, well, maybe you can't see on there. Its codename is Hannah, and the reason this game came about is because I was working on Super Wall Crash so much that I burned out on it really hard, and I really needed to get to something else. So with the combination of working on Hannah and working on the Deliverer for the last 2 months, it really helped me get the needed break I needed from Super Wall Crash. And the game I'll talk about after this is Super Wall Crash again, because I came back to it and I said, Super Wall Crash is so far in development and it's pretty well polished that it makes sense to just go and finish that. But Hannah is definitely a very unique game, and I was doing it before one game a month, which really showed me how to use Blender, because I did everything in Blender myself. I'm a programmer by nature, so learning to use Blender was very not difficult, but it was an interesting process because of how much there is to know about Blender and how many techniques you can do. So my goal with this was to build a smaller scoped game that removed things like third-person, animations or animations of NPCs or people you can interact with, contain the entire game within a specific house. You can kind of see this is all within one single multi-level house. But also what I wanted to do, and we'll see down in this basement room, is I wanted to use Blender to model the as I call it, the kill room from The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which was an inspiration for Project Torment, if you were watching those vlogs. I'll put a picture up here of what that room kind of looks like. There aren't any great shots of it because of the camera work in that room. But the goal of this game was to be a puzzle-based, atmospheric, first-person game. So, and it's also sci-fi based. So there's a big science fiction aspect to it, but all the puzzles in it are very, I want to say real, but they're also technology based. So if I play this, and I don't know if I have, so I have this turned on. Your weapon, you actually don't have a weapon because you're not going to be like fighting anything or really like interacting with any enemies, is this phone. And this phone was one of the last things I did before I went to the December challenge, so you can see it's pretty basic and doesn't have a whole lot to it. But the phone is also your flashlight. This whole demo is not tweaked very much at all, so the lighting is very dark, not what it would finally be. But the basics are that I modeled this entire thing in Blender, modeled it cleanly so there weren't, duplicate vertices everywhere. Started doing some texture work by texturing it with a reference sheet in Blender and then bringing it into Unity and applying that texture and making sure it looked okay. You'll see as we go through, there's going to be rooms like this where it's just a gray box basically. But we start in this room because this is the last room I was working on. And you can see there's several things in here that were modeled, including this real basic light, which would need to be fixed eventually because one, that light doesn't fit this room, and two, it's pretty low poly and kind of weird looking. But also modeled this entire building as one model, and then started modeling things like this framework here, the crown molding and such. You can see it's on the ceilings and on the floors. That's all modeled into the home itself and then textured separately. Basic texture on the floor, on the walls. You can see there's some cutouts here for windows that I was just putting in a temporary crown molding piece out there to see what it looked like in the engine. And then this door, which was one of the first things that I started modeling. This game is kind of using a lot of inspiration from PT, the horror demo that was for Silent Hills, although it doesn't have all the like jump outs and stuff. But you can see the doors are actually like pretty high quality, not super high, but you can see like some of the texturing needs a little work on this thing, but there's a lot of little fine details in it. And there's like this little like doorknob and stuff like that. So the goal was to get this like the door and the trim modeled so you can reuse this. So this door is actually a prefab that I can drag and drop throughout the house and then have doors in all these rooms, without having to remodel them over and over and over and over. So we're going to kind of run through this house. I'm going to say right away that this house is really dark because, again, the lighting hasn't been tweaked. So as I run through this, if some of it's kind of dark, hopefully I'll lighten this after I record it. But what I want to do is kind of run through some of these rooms. You can see this is kind of the second floor, some bedrooms, little like closets and narrow hallways. One of the things too was building a lot of 90-degree angles. So if I did want to add those scary elements, you want to get these things where I can't see around this corner, and then when I can't see around this corner, and just interesting things like that. One of the major things that hasn't been done with this house model yet is windows weren't really put in, and other than that one room, and things like let's run over here. If we would go look at PT, you would see in a hallway like this, you would have these like beams kind of in the hallway, and they kind of just add like a little detail to it that's like a support, but it kind of like makes it feel a little more claustrophobic, and also makes the building a little more interesting, right? So you can see how basic some of these rooms are, but this would be the main entranceway that you would come in. You come in from this door, and there's a whole story written around this concept, and this is kind of like a proof of concept game itself. But I wanted to do something where the scope was small, but when I did it, I was like, oh, Super Wall Crash is so far, it makes more sense to go back to that. But this is still kind of like in my mind, especially with the story, because the story is extremely disturbing and interesting. So I'll kind of run around here a little bit more, go look at some of these buildings or rooms. You can see that none of these have been textured or worked on other than their basic layouts. All done in Blender, and all, like I said, clean. So you can see like little cubbies where you would add like shelving or something like that. Got to add a lot more of those. So let's head downstairs. This little stairway under the stairway under the stairway. Actually, you can see the stairs are built into the actual building itself as well. So this is the room that was originally, this is the first thing I actually modeled, which was considered just the kill room thing. And what I did is I built this, and then I started expanding off of it to build this house. I was originally going to try and build the house from Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, but I didn't want to keep referencing all these YouTube videos and have to go back and forth and say, oh, this room has this little thing, and should I add that? Because when I was doing this room, this part of the kill room is quite a bit different in the actual movie, and I modeled it, and I was like, you know what, that's good. I'm just going to leave it because it's actually fun to play around in. So this room's basically, pretty basic textured, got some of those columns, but the interesting part about this room is that if you walk up to this table, it says pick up note, and you can press E, and it picks up this note. And what this note is basically I picked up let's see if I have it here. I don't know where it is. A really cheap journal from Staples, and what I did is I wrote just temporary text. So this is some text from a drum machine I bought, and I just wrote it in different styles and stuff, crinkled it up, took a picture of it with a camera, and then brought it into Photoshop and just played around with it a little bit to give it some of that dark look. And it actually turned out really good, and you can actually read it pretty well. I would still probably put a text component, so like Silent Hill, where you pick up a note and it's like a very blurry version of the note, and then the text prints in actual font on the screen. But you can pick this up, read it, and then put it away, and then go back and walk around. So I think there's like a lot of really cool core concepts here, but like I said, I want to go back to Super Wall Crash and talk about a little bit more about that in this vlog, but I also want to work on that some more and get that pushed out in 2016. So yeah, this is Hannah. I'm not going to talk too much about the story because the story is so cool that I don't want to spoil any of it. Actually, I didn't even want to like show a lot of this building, because if I actually keep this building layout, you're going to see quite a few rooms that would probably be locked at first. But anyways, let's go talk about Super Wall Crash. Okay, so we're back here with Super Wall Crash. I made a bunch of updates in the last couple days that I want to show off a little bit and give that reminder that this is going to be the sole goal for 2016 for Submatter Games. Again, since I did some of these updates in the last day or two and added some new assets in terms of API plugins and stuff, you might see some errors in the bottom happening. That's stuff I have to clean up in the next couple weeks. Again, the new stuff basically added this basic credits menu. You click on this, just shows the credits, who did art, code, and design and stuff like that, and then just a little name for the company and stuff like that. If we head back, we go look at this menu, and I think this is the one where you might see some issues, is that I added some new blank temporary characters. So these are all just Lumberjills, but I'm just working with the purchasing code right now, the transaction code. That's stuff that needs to be fixed, and as soon as that's in, I think the majority of the game is pretty much done. There's a lot of nice to haves that I want to do with this game, but it doesn't need to be in there right away. So you can see we're starting right here with a new biome. This is the kind of like the forest biome. I kind of was thinking of I think it's called like Grizzly Hills or something in World of Warcraft, where it's got these like big pine trees and, you know, like rushing streams and, you know, a lot of rocks and stumps and stuff like that. So this is one of the new ones. There's going to be a major new piece of art that you'll see in a couple of seconds when the wall shows up. The wall is completely different now, and it adds a little more of a gameplay twist to it. So the wall, you can see, is made up of a ton of different stuff. And I'm going to hit the heart there because I was going to hit that guy. Each piece of the wall now gives you a different bonus when you hit it. So there's a piece of the wall that gives you heart. The heart is obviously life. The checker flag makes you go a little faster. Remember, if you hit more than one piece of a wall, you get multiple bonuses too. There's a coin wall. You can see it's got the same symbol of the coin on it. It gives you 5 coins, I think, right now. Hit that. Yep, extra 5. And I think there's also a score piece of the wall, which was really hard to design. What does a score look like? You know, it doesn't look like anything. It's a concept. So I made it like this pink and bluish kind of look, so it kind of sticks out from the other ones. You can see it right there if I hit it. There we go. Gives you extra, I think, like 10 score right now. This all needs to be tweaked, obviously, to balance it out a little more. And then there's still like chunks of wall that are just a bland, basic wall. So it's actually kind of fun to be like, oh, I want to get some more coins. I want to unlock, you know, some characters or something. Let me go hit these chunks of wall that's got coin, like right here. Boom, hit that. But yeah, that was kind of messed up because I hit that rock right afterwards. But you can actually run for quite a bit longer now. You know, it adds quite a bit of complexity to the development of it, because you have to think now the user can run faster. They can last longer because they can get health. So, you know, I have to get that balancing going, get the balancing of the health, how much health you gain when you hit it, how much health everything takes away, because in the end, not everything is going to take away one single health. But yeah, those are some of the most basic improvements that have been made. Behind the scenes, a lot of work with transaction code, cleaning up just real simple, let's start hitting some of this stuff. Cleaning up simple code like, oh, I should mention one thing. If I hit, so if you watch when I hit one of these, which, let me restart it so I can hit one a lot faster. When I hit a piece of wall, it's going to make that part of the UI just like pulse a little bit. If I hit the score wall piece, you'll see the score bumps a little bit, like pulses. Coins do it, and health does it. So let's run a little bit and show that off. But yeah, a lot of the transaction code has been updated. A lot of little UI tweaks. So watch the health. You can see it kind of just goes whoop. Coins do it, I think, when you hit not only the coin wall, but you hit any coin. So watch the coin thing in the upper left, because I just missed it. Keep watching it. So you can kind of see it just goes boop. But yeah, that's the majority of the updates to Super Wall Crash currently. Again, I think it's in a pretty good state, and when you see it on the phone, it actually looks a lot better running on the phone because of the phone screens, and the functionality of it just feels right a lot better than this. It doesn't look as like as static when he moves and stuff. It's a lot more organic, I want to say. But yeah, that has been my major update for the last 2 or 3 months of development effort on my side and Subject Matter Games' side. Priority for 2016 is going to be Super Wall Crash. We're going to get that out. You'll be able to play it on iOS first, probably, and then Android sometime after, probably not too long after that. So keep an eye on the channel, keep an eye on the website. We'll post some new vlogs. I got vacation coming up in a little in very soon, like a week. So I won't be able to do anything development-wise or vlog-wise or anything then, because I'll be out of the country. But when I get back, primarily going to be working on this, going to be working on some other things I've got going outside of Subject Matter. But yeah, it's definitely a really interesting year coming up. I can't wait to get this game out and get people playing it. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, keep it here, keep watching. And if you got any comments or questions or anything about any of the games you saw in here or the next whatever time period, future, whatever, just leave a comment down below and I'll answer it. I'll read it and answer it. So, okay, cool. I'll see you guys next time.